Hi, I'm really looking forward to introducing you to a couple of my wonderful clients, Meg and Jackie. I met them a few years ago when they were just moving back to Australia from overseas, and we've done a couple of projects together. They've been absolutely wonderful. They've recommended me to a few of their friends, and they've all gone on to do successful projects. It's been absolutely wonderful. So I hope you enjoy hearing their story.
When we were back in 2013, I think it was, we were coming back from Singapore. And we had a significant amount of clothing, but very little storage in our house that we were coming back to. So I needed to find somebody to help think about how we could use the space that we have in Leichhardt and then create something that was going to be practical enough to put all of our clothing into.
I think also we're a unique couple in that we're two women, we love fashion, we have lots of clothes, and the typical house that we move into or look at just doesn't have the right space for what we need. And we really needed to find a provider that could help us create something quite unique for our situation.
The difference that we found was that the architect built closets in every room were sort of very off the shelf. Very typical. So you'd just have a couple of drawers, you'd have shoes that you'd have to put underneath dresses, so there was no real place for shoes. You'd open up the wardrobes and there were two things, so there was nowhere for Jack to put her long dresses. The other interesting thing, and I've learnt this from Sally, is that in our walk-in wardrobe upstairs in the new house, the actual shelves were about that big, and so what that actually means is, whilst it looks very attractive and a lot of space, it's really hard to keep it tidy. And so that sort of just not understanding of how people go about stacking clothes was very obvious in the way the architect put it together.
Look, we bought this house and it was just divine. The biggest problem was all the wardrobes. None of the wardrobes worked. And we could fit probably about a quarter of our clothes into the wardrobe. So they were too small, they weren't practical, they didn't have enough variety in the way they were constructed, and we took one look at them and went, well, we really need to just rip them all out.
And get
Sally and start again. So, and that's what we've done, and it's been fantastic.
Okay, so I'd just like to show you what we've done for Meg and Jackie, and you can see the whole solution. They've got a lovely bedroom here, and what I aim to achieve is to enhance the bedroom rather than smother it with storage. The way we do that is get really clever about categorising things that are the same sort of size, depth, height together, and then we can leave some open spaces so the place doesn't feel like they're living in a storage cubicle, but they get maximum storage. So this space here is where we've gained as much as possible of the double hanging that they needed, knowing only how much they needed. There's no point putting more in than somebody needs in a space like this. So totally maximised this cupboard with hanging because it's the furthest away from all of the other obstructions. And so we've got plenty of storage in there for Meg. We've got everything she needs, including one of her favourite things, the slide-out belt rack. So then we've gained some extra storage here with the drawers, and as I said before, it's about keeping it nice and open as you come into the door so you don't feel closed in. The other thing we've had to do is work around bulkheads. They've got air conditioning ducts up there, and in order to keep the lines nice and simple in this contemporary home, we've taken the doors up to the bulkhead and continued a bulkhead around, and that reflects really nicely around the air conditioning duct, and we've done the same on the other cupboard in the shoe cupboard. What we've also done, because they really needed as much storage as possible, is over here, just to not intrude on the room too much, but to add some character and some sort of horizontal surface to break up all the vertical lines, we've done a credenza. So in here they can store anything they like. They've got it jam-packed full of jumpers. Originally I thought they might put handbags in there, but obviously it works. In fact, they do have handbags in here. But it works for anything, and it gives them a lovely kind of, I don't know, just a nice sort of relaxed feel. So Meg and Jackie, as they might have mentioned, they have a lot of shoes. So again, thinking of storage, but also thinking of conserving the space in the bedroom, we've condensed all of the shoes into a cabinet that doesn't need to be as deep as a wardrobe that would for clothes that hang. So here we have their shoe cabinet. It's fully adjustable, so they can spread their shoes as much as they like, depending on what they get, and as their needs change, they'll be able to change those shelves around. But the idea there is, as you can see, they have a lot of shoes, so rather than scattering everything all over the place, condensing everything that's around about the same size into a shallow cabinet here gives them all that they need there without intruding too much on the room. This is the area that Meg was talking about when we were talking about the difference between an architect design cabinet and one that I do. This was a lovely walk-in wardrobe. The problem was the shelves were miles apart, and they had, the idea here is storage down the bottom, which is something I really avoid because it's too difficult to use. However, rather than throwing out what was already quite a nice, well, actually a very nice built-in wardrobe, we started with this and said, well, what can we do to this? How can we improve it? And let's make this the bones that we start with. And then when we get to custom storage, we'll work around what we need, how to fill the rest of the storage requirements in the other space. So we've actually added extra drawers into this space. This previously was only, I think, 1 or 2 drawers deep. And so to maximise the space, we've put in more drawers. We've actually doubled the amount of shelving in here so that, as Meg said, it actually stays tidy and organised. And then we just reconfigured the hanging because I wanted to get as much out of this hanging space as possible because it's the only space that's deep enough. Unfortunately, this was designed too shallow for hanging. Otherwise, I would have done hanging down the bottom and shelves at the top. So by doing this, we actually saved them some money. We've also saved a little bit for the environment. Rather than pulling something out that was inefficient and disorganised, we've actually transformed it into a really usable space.
When I went back to Leichhardt, really wanted to try and emulate what we had in Singapore. And there was an idea that Jack and I had that was to put something right in the middle of our bedroom in Leichhardt so that we could sort of go in and around it. And
it wasn't a good idea.
It was not a good idea. It just took up too much room. It took away from the thing that was our bedroom at the time, which was a beautiful big room. And Sally was really fantastic in allowing us to explore that idea. But the reality was that it was never going to work.
Sally's ideas are really fabulous because we have some ideas, but we're not experts. And in the past, we've made big mistakes in our home. So what Sally's able to do is listen to our ideas, consider them, and very nicely and politely steer us in the right direction. And in this home, the new home that we've just bought, our bedroom was a major problem. And we were trying to work out the best way to redo all the wardrobes. And Sally came up with some fantastic ideas that we hadn't even considered.
I think the thing for me that works really well is that we've allocated particular spaces for particular things. And that provides so much structure and just neatness in a way that you don't have to work hard at it.
Our wardrobe is really personalised. So I have a lot of long dresses. Meg has a lot of shorts and trousers and shorter dresses and skirts. And so what Sally's been able to do is literally look at our clothes, our wardrobe, and build a space that's very personalised. I think the other thing is everything is in its category. So when we're really busy, when we're trying to get out the door to work, we absolutely know where everything is. So it's just fantastic. Meg is very particular.
I look for people that know what they're talking about, will be creative in what they've got to say. They deliver when they say they're going to deliver, so reliability. They're flexible so they can work around us. We do have quite a busy schedule, so it's important that they get that and that, you know, they work around us as much as we trying to fit the tradespeople in. And just a little bit of tidiness. Particularly with the clever closets, there is absolutely a lot of mess that needs to go on to get what you need. And my experience with Sally and the boys is that if they're here for a week or they're here for 2 days, it is always tidy at the end of the day so that we can continue to live in the house. It's fantastic.
Meg actually does most of the selection. So Meg found Sally, and I think the reason why we both warmed to Sally was she's just a professional, and the people that she works with and brings in to do the work are really professional. They're not just carpenters or tradesmen. They really care about what they're doing, and I think that makes a big difference to us. We really love our home, and we want it to be treated with respect, and I think that's what we look for, and that it's kind of easy, that people can move around our world a bit rather than the other way around, and that's happened in both situations where we worked with Sally.
The storage that Sally had put in for us was really clever, and it was in not just our bedroom, but it was also in the bathroom, and it was also in our spare bedroom. And the real estate agent, when she came in to look at the house, said that this was a real differentiator. In all of the houses that she was selling around our area, storage is of a premium. And to get, inbuilt closets or whatever is always fantastic. But to have the closets the way they had been designed really was that she'd never seen anything quite like it. It really was the wow factor. The makeover in the study was an interesting exercise because it actually was a bedroom, and the wardrobes in that room were quite intrusive. And my view was that we literally I was just thinking we'd take the doors off the wardrobes and somehow do something with the cavities or the framework that we had. And Sally came up with a really great idea that actually lightened up the room, helped us actually store some of the things that we needed stored, but also had the concept and shelving, etc. of a study. And now we have a practical, workable, very light study.
We would highly recommend Sally and Clever Closet to our friends. In fact, we have recommended her on several occasions. She's really created a fantastic individualised storage for us, which we really love. It's practical, but it's also very beautiful, and those two things together make a big difference.
Hopefully now that you've heard Meg and Jackie's story, you've got a better understanding of what's involved in a comprehensive storage plan. You really do have to start with the big picture. You have to be able to see what's going on in the whole home and think about how they're going to be using their space and what their behaviour is. When Meg asked me to come and do their design originally, if we'd implemented their original ideas, it would have dramatically devalued their home. Conversely, what we did, the real estate agent said, dramatically differentiated their property and they achieved a much higher value. So it's kind of like, not only do you need to be a great designer, you kind of need to be able to foresee the future if you're going to do a design that is going to serve the clients well for a lifetime.